Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're so happy you could join us in this consideration of the study article for this weekend, May 3rd to 4th, 2025. Study article number 8, entitled, Jehovah's Forgiveness, How Can You Imitate It? The theme text reads, Just as Jehovah freely forgave you, you must also do the same. Colossians 3:13. In this article, we'll consider practical steps we can take to forgive someone who has offended us. So, let's get started. Paragraph 1 and 2, question A. When may we find it difficult, especially difficult, to forgive someone? From time to time, it might be difficult, especially when someone says or does something that hurts us deeply, something that we don't expect, especially if it's a loved one, a relative, even a brother of the congregation, and sometimes unexpected situations. Like Sister Denise, they had an accident on the road and her husband Brian had been killed, and that was one of the worst experience she ever had. She says, and I quote, "I left broken and confused, and later, she learned that the driver had not been impaired or distracted, and she prayed to Jehovah for peace." Question B. How Denise show forgiveness? And she was in the court before the judge, and she was praying. She had many emotions, feelings, and she was in a courtroom and prepared to address the man who had caused her family so much pain. And she said something unexpected. She asked the judge to show mercy to the driver, to the man. That was her personal decision, and guess what? The judge was crying, broke down in tears. And he said something interesting. In all my 25 years as a judge, I never heard anything like this in my courtroom. That's because normally people are thirsty and hungry for revenge. Okay, number 3. What moved Denise to forgive? And she meditated on Jehovah's forgiveness, that's one. And when we appreciate the forgiveness that Jehovah has shown us, we'll be motivated to forgive toward others. Number 4. What does Jehovah wants us to do? Let's read first from the scriptures, Ephesians 4:32. But become kind to one another, tenderly compassionate, freely forgiving one another, just as God also by Christ freely forgave you. So the answer to this question, Jehovah wants us to forgive others just as freely as He has forgiven us. And of course, it's easier said than done. He expects us to be ready to forgive those who hurt us. Have you ever experienced that before? Do you remember someone who had seriously offended you in the past? Well, in this article, this study, we'll consider 3 things that will help us to be more forgiving. Let's start with number 1. Don't ignore your feelings. Paragraph 5. Let's read first Proverbs 12:18. We read, Thoughtless speech is like the stabs of a sword, but the tongue of the wise is a healing. According to this, how might we feel when someone offends us? And the answer is bad, angry. The Bible acknowledges that we may become wrathful, and it's a disappointing emotion, disappointing feeling. And that's normal. We're human beings, so it's our nature. Because our emotions often lead to actions, so we must be careful. There is an interesting statement. Getting angry is a reaction, but remaining angry is a choice. Number 7. What other feelings might we experience when someone hurts us? And we might feel other painful emotions. For example, Sister Anne, she says about her feelings, and she felt replaced. She grew up feeling unwanted. No one deserves feeling like that, but that's what many people are living right now. And a sister, she felt betrayed, terribly bad. Other people, they feel they don't deserve receive any kind of love. So very negative feelings and emotions. It's not their fault. Because of their circumstances, they've been feeling in that way. Number 8. What are some reasons why we should forgive others? Paragraph 8, question A. And this is really important because we love Jehovah and He wants us to be forgiven. If we remain angry and don't forgive, we're like to act foolishly and perhaps suffer physically. Question B. What benefits do we receive when we forgive? And see the box. What if we have been traumatized by someone? Traumatized by someone. Okay. This is a gift. Not just for the other person, but to ourselves. And this is very important because we decide to let go of our resentment and anger. In that way, we don't allow the person who caused us trauma to continue to victimize us. Doing so, we're really giving ourselves a gift. It allows us to heal and move on with our life, to enjoy every single day of our life, to enjoy resting, laughing, and being with others. So there are many powerful reasons why that we receive when we forgive. Question 9. Why should we let go of resentment? And when we let go of resentment, we prevent our heart from becoming damaged by bitterness. We also give ourselves a gift. We can start to move on and enjoy our life once again. So no one deserves living like a prisoner of resentment. It's insane. The next something reads, dealing with your feelings. Paragraph 10. Why should we allow ourselves time to heal emotionally? Number 10. Why should we allow ourselves time to heal emotionally? And we can imagine an illustration. A person who has been severely injured needs time to heal physically. So in a similar way, we may need time to heal emotionally before we're ready to forgive someone from the heart. It's a process. And every single person has a different process, different time for recovery. 11. How can prayer help you to be forgiven? And this is a very important tool to connect with Jehovah and learn his way of thinking when someone has offended us. Like Sister Anne, she was begging Jehovah to forgive each one in her family, and we notice how this is a powerful tool to free us from resentment, and it makes things easier to forgive others. Let's move on to number 12, and let's read first Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in Jehovah with all your heart, and don't rely on your own understanding. In all your ways take notice of him, and he'll make your paths straight. Why should we trust Jehovah instead of our feelings? And as we read in Isaiah 55:9, Jehovah always knows what is best for us, and he'll never ask us to do something that will harm us. On the other side, when we allow that our ego is saying us what to do, if we trust our feelings, our ego, we may never be able to forgive. That's the idea that we find at Jeremiah 17:9. That's the issue of trusting in our feelings. Let's move on to the next one. Create positive feelings. Number 13. Let's read from the Bible, Romans 12:18-21. We read, "If possible, as far as it depends on you, be peaceable with all men. Don't avenge yourself, beloved, but yield place to the wrath, for it's written, Vengeance is mine. Vengeance is mine. I'll repay, says Jehovah. But if your enemy is hungry, feed him. If he's thirsty, give him something to drink. For by doing this, you'll heap fiery coals on his head. Don't let yourself be conquered by the evil, but keep conquering the evil with the good." So according to this, what do we need to do? And it's very important as we read in the last part of this scripture. Don't let yourself be conquered by the evil. Instead of that, keep conquering the evil with the good. And that's the challenge. And of course, it's easier said than done. We want to do more than simply decide not to talk about what happened. And things are different when we notice that the offender is a brother or sister of the congregation. That changes everything. We've been trained to cope with offenses of people who are not fellow believers, but things are different when we receive this damage from our brothers, our fellow believers. We're not trained to cope with that normally. And we choose to replace our anger with mercy and our resentment with forgiveness. Of course, there are minor offenses and grave or serious offenses. Number 14. What should we strive to do and why? So, we should strive to see the person who offended us as Jehovah does. He chooses to look for the good in people, if is possible. That's very important, because not all the people has a good heart, and that's something that Jehovah is aware, and we do our best trying to find something good in the person. And here's the key: when we look for the good in others, we'll find it easier to forgive them. Okay, next one, 15. Why may it be helpful to tell someone that you have forgiven him? And the answer is really important because of telling him that we've forgiven him, the person might change his bad attitude. The person may change his mentality. Sometimes it works, sometimes not, but it's his call. Number 16. What have you learned about forgiveness? This is not just theory. Jehovah wants us to be forgiven. This is practical, it's not theory. And we may struggle to forgive others, but we can do it if we don't ignore our feelings and make the effort to deal with them. And that's the challenge. Rejecting our ego, deny our pride, deny ourselves, as Jesus said. That's the challenge. The last one, focus on the benefits of being forgiven. How does being forgiven benefit us? Our mental health, our emotional health, our physical health will improve if we forgive from the heart. We imitate Jehovah and please our merciful Father. Second, we show gratitude for the forgiveness Jehovah has kindly extended to us. And third, we enjoy better health and keep our friendships strong. 18 and 19, what may result from our being forgiven? We may experience unexpected blessings. Like Sister Denise at the beginning of this study article, once she forgave this man, the driver, he was planning to end his life after the trial, but when he saw her reaction, her forgiveness, he was so moved by Denise's forgiveness that he began studying the Bible. Sometimes people respond well to forgiveness, to our love. Sometimes not. But that's not the case with Sister Denise. Okay, friends, that's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for joining us in this consideration of the study article for this weekend. And we hope you have a wonderful day. You could support our channel by subscribing and liking this video. So, see you next time.